Okay. Welcome back to Case Closed Anime Review, episode 115. Unlike the last few weeks, basically, of doing this, they apparently the website I'm basically reading these chapters of, they finally released the first chapter of the current arc of the manga. Finally! It took them 3 freaking weeks. I will discuss about that. But let's talk about the newest episode of the anime. Episode number 1004, the 36 Cell Perfect Game, Part 3. Now, unlike last week's episode, where it's adapted from 2 full chapters, this one did not. No, this one adapted from pretty much the entirety of chapter 1029, and it went through like the first 10 pages of chapter 1030. Yep, which means, yeah, it's definite that next week we'll probably wrap up this arc. There was a bit of follow-up with this one with another arc of the series. Yes, there's actually a follow-up with this one with one of the Last Police love story one. Yeah, believe it or not, it is. I thought that was kind of surprising. So, episode picks up exactly where last week's episode left off, where we have the character Wakta, one of the, not Wakita, not the one of the 4 main characters here, one of the one-shot characters. He gets killed off. And last week, they basically they pretty much pick up like Wrath to discover his body. They discover the crossbow. I was right. It was definitely a crossbow that basically killed the guy. And basically aimed right in the eyes. So they chat for a while. Oh yeah, of course, it's Wakita, who reveals that, yeah, he's actually Morikudo. Morikangro. The sleeping Kanguro, which sleep more, yes. He reveals that to them. And they're surprised at the fact that he's actually him. Which, when he hears that, you actually see in the anime, they actually have where Mori smiles at one of his 2 students, one of his 2 associates, saying who he is. He's like smiling because he loves his celebrity status. Yep. So, pretty much like, I've looked at the body, yeah, and of course, then they have it where they all like take turns basically to figure out who actually, they discuss like who could potentially kill, like one of the people there could be the culprit, and of course they go to chat with discuss stuff, and of course they check on the bathroom privately, and then of course we have it where Amuro and Conan just go and check it out because they basically do a little pairs thing. Of course, Mori is paired up with Wakita, which is interesting. So they examine the body, and then of course, they also have it where Mori contacts the local police department, which he knows the detectives there, and he also shows what the person looks like via video cam, which even he's kind of surprised, like, what, you can do? Okay, fine. First time I can think of in the actual series itself, they've actually sent a video footage of a phone call, which they've never technically done it before for a crime scene in the anime. Though in the manga, this is probably the only case I can think of they actually did this for. Because my guess is they have the technology to do this, so why not have it happen? So, kudos for the anime, make sure they included this. And we see that, I think it's Kumi, who looks at the footage, and he recognizes Amuro. Though he recognizes by his real name, Ray. I think it's Free. I think his real name is, because it's revealed in a flashback later on in the episode that he actually was introduced to him by his brother, the one who was killed. He also figures out though that he was the one who figures out his nickname is Zero, and also he's the one who sent him that stuff back in the police serum case, which that was quite interesting, the fact that he actually showed up for that one. So he got a bit of follow for that one, which is fantastic. Because it was a good arc. And they wrap up a long-running plot thread in the series about Keba and the partner of Yuki, where she finally figures out, though, that she's actually his childhood friend, which they become a couple afterwards. Yep. So, pretty much. And of course, there's a little bit of something with him a little bit later, which I'll get to that. So, they soon discover, one of the guys basically, look around, figure, and of course, while they're going on fire, they chat for a while, And then he hears some noise, and one of the parents said they go out and check it out. And one of whom, who was a neat freak, we actually see it where he actually stay like outside the bathroom, he's drinking his bottle of water. And then he dies via poisoning. And of course, Ebba runs to him and discover, yep, it's poisoning. And of course, Watuda sees that Amuro, like, you two are really good friends. We're really close, aren't you? Well, we hang out with each other a lot, which that's kind of true. Also, before I continue on here, Conan does ask about rum to Amuro. And he's like, where did you hear that name? And he's like, no business benefiting me, like pacifisting his associates, but wow, that's a big advancement for rum. Yeah, it's quite interesting though. They first introduced the character Rum way back. I think it was like the Scarlet story arc that happened a little prior to this. Yeah, they actually mentioned the name first time. Not much is done with Rum. Like, this is probably the first time they've actually brought up the name Rum in quite some time. And after this, they don't reveal exactly who he is until, well, a little bit later on. They revealed that actually one of the characters we see in the series is actually Rum. So, pretty much, like, as soon as they discover that honey, it was on the cell phone, because they also, they look at because apparently the guy got a text message. He was mentioned by one of his friends that it was a text message, and the reason why he's a constant drinker of water, because one time during practice he got dehydrated and passed out, so he's constantly drinking water every chance he gets. I'm like, okay, that could explain his habit, which is perfectly fine. They also brought up the fact later on that the two guys who died in the episode, a couple of them actually went to college together at the very prestigious university, which, like, that's interesting. And the episode ends basically with Conan and Amuro discovering that the phone has got honey on it. Where honey comes from? Of course, Conan does ask Amuro idea who the culprit is. He's like, no, I don't. So, it's nice that we get a little advance of the plot here for this particular episode. And, well, it's actually pretty damn good. Can't wait for next week, which will be the conclusion. After that, we're back to anime original content 2 weeks from now. Yep. Alright, moving on to New Shot Manga, chapter 1070. So apparently, I look at the end of this, apparently the reason why it took so long to release the English translation of this first chapter of this new arc, the reason, because the fan translators, apparently there was a change of staff. Apparently, and that could explain why the fact there's a delay by 3 weeks. Yep, so now we have 1070, a new case. And I like the fact the long-awaited new chat begin. Yeah, after 3 frickin' months. Yes. This is called To Think We Meet in Such a Place. And we see Conan digging the ground. Chat starts off with, well, something happened in one of the previous arcs of this series with the whole meteor and with their teachers. So we have Detective Boys basically discussing that case, and of course, well, Hybra basically is worried about her real name being out there. It's like, not worried, but the fact she is. And of course, sees some bunnies and looks around like she's very nervous. Like, everything all right? It's like, fine. And Conan points out, though, don't worry about the recent case with the organization. They only have picked one with the FBI. You're not in danger. That find out about stuff basically, and then your younger sister, Sheraton, right? Huh? He's such a place. I'm surprised. Huh? Who is your problem? Who? Be my show. Her name's Aichan. You pervert. Just, oh come, what are you doing? And they chat for a while, and then finally the teachers show up. Like, wow. In the case of teachers, like, when was the last time that, in the case of the main teacher, when was the last time she showed up in the series? Well, probably in that brief 3-parter. In the case of Remington, I think she actually just popped up very recently in that other case with Amuro. So, and in terms of the reason why people were here, class reunion. Yep. Well, class reunion, one class. And they introduced themselves. The guy who was the first person there, he was the former class president. We had the vice president and the former secretary. Oh yeah, all three of these people are all 25 years old. So, well, you just argue like the fact that he looks like somebody that they knew, that looked like this brown hair girl. Really? Hybra is a blonde. Why the heck they refer to her as brown hair? That makes no freaking sense at all. I mean, heck, in the anime, she's always depicted as a blonde. And her sister has got raven hair. Why the heck she would say she had brown hair? This makes no freaking sense. Maybe a mistranslation, but yeah, she's a blonde. Hybra is a blonde, not a brunette. Why the heck they wrote this way for? I have no idea. So they chat for a bit. Of course, Ramata basically notices though that she's actually, well, like, apparently she does know about her being Sho. Is this child? He's like, impossible. And of course, they show off what the class is doing, like preparing some kind of food. Also, they reveal that the guy who's in charge was able to wear a school uniform in exchange for not drinking any alcohol. Like, okay, perfectly fine. And mention, oh yeah, the fact that we're sushi and the fact to get their home teacher pay for it. Yep. If I thought about talking putting up a time capsule, like, okay. That kind of one person who knew was Akima, and of course Hebra was like, my sister. Yep. And they find like a note, like a note of what was inside the thing, like a code. Like, yep, a code. Yep. So the detective boy just basically just volunteered the whole search for it, and of course Hebra was worried it might find something. Message to find everyone. It's like, don't worry, I'll find for these guys. Secretly take the message and bring it to you. Your sister's voice from 13 years ago. Interesting. Yep. So it's a good chapter. I do appreciate it. And it is something, though, that we finally released this chapter after 3 weeks. Yeah, this chapter was released on the 14th of last month. Day of my last birthday. And I believe it's been like, let's see. Yeah, it's been almost 3 weeks since this chapter was released. It's only because change of staff. That was the reason why for it. But this is definitely a good chapter. It's a good start to this arc. Basically, a time capsule, which is great. Yep. Excuse me. So that's it for this particular review. Oh, by the way, get a chapter 8. A 9 out of 10 for a good start. So, next review is going to be Bart, okay? Next video. Bye.